Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're taking a really close look at what's new in Claude Code version 2.1.196. And look, I want to be super clear right off the bat. This is definitely not just some boring list of minor patch notes. This entire update is built as a direct solution to the daily, grinding frictions we face as developers. From drawing crucial security boundaries to finally making sure your background jobs stop silently failing, we've got some genuinely fantastic ground to cover today.
Okay, let's just jump right in. Here's our quick roadmap for unpacking these workflow upgrades. We'll kick things off with upgrading the developer experience, then we'll move into locking down security. After that, we'll cover bulletproof background sessions and wrap the whole thing up with efficiency and bug fixes.
So, Section 1, upgrading the developer experience. Let's see how we're making those daily tasks just a little bit smoother.
You know that feeling when you're juggling a bunch of parallel workflows and you completely lose track of which session is which? It's the worst, right? We used to have to rely on those completely opaque session identifiers, just an absolute nightmare to sort through. But in 2.1.196, the new standard is human readable default names. Whenever a session starts, it automatically grabs a name that actually makes sense. It makes finding the exact session you need in your list instantly easier, especially when your terminal is just loaded down with tasks.
Okay, check out this pro tip from the update, because this is going to drastically speed up your workflow. Any files that show up in your chat, they are now fully interactive. If you're on macOS, you just command-click or control-click on Windows, and boom, it immediately reveals that file right in your Finder or File Explorer. It brilliantly bridges the gap between your chat environment and your local file system. It's a tiny tweak, sure, but man, it's a massive quality of life boost. Next up, we have org default models. Now, if you're on an enterprise team, this is a brilliantly frictionless setup. Admins can now just set a baseline model directly in the org console. So if a user hasn't gone in and manually picked a model using the /model command, no worries. They'll automatically see it labeled as org default or role default. It just ensures this perfectly consistent baseline across the entire team without forcing every single developer to mess with their own configurations. Moving right along to Section 2, locking down security and the MCP trust boundary. Listen, we're shifting focus here to what is arguably the most critical security update in this entire release. And it really all comes down to this one question. Who exactly is auto-spawning your servers? See, we used to have this major trust boundary problem. If you ran a command to list or get your MCP servers, simply opening an untrusted repository could silently activate servers. Why? Because the repo author had self-approved them by committing their own settings file. So essentially, just by opening someone else's code, you could be activating servers that they whitelisted for themselves. Yikes!
Well, version 2.1.196 tackles this vulnerability head-on. Now, untrusted workspaces boldly display a pending approval status. Any of those self-approved servers coming from a cloned repo, they freeze. They are stuck in that pending state, and they will absolutely not spawn until you, the user, explicitly step in and grant them permission. It is a really strict, smart way to protect your local environment.
All right, on to Section 3, bulletproof background sessions. It is time to stop those silent failures. Let's be honest, if you have ever dealt with the incredibly frustrating problem of losing a massive, long-running job just because some background demon unexpectedly restarted, you're gonna love this. Here's how it works now. Say your sessions process is stopped, restarted, or even updated. Instantly, specifically for Windows users, the background shell is safely handed off rather than just being killed. Then, the very next time you open the agent's view, the worker automatically resumes exactly from where it left off. Your background jobs literally survive system interruptions now. No more silent deaths, no more lost progress. It's fantastic. Finally, let's hit Section 4, efficiency and bug fixes. Let's see how we're doing a lot more with a lot less. First up, a massive 25% token reduction for the /code review workflow. How did they pull this off? The engineering team intelligently merged what used to be 5 separate cleanup finders into just one single pass. So if you're a developer who runs frequent code reviews throughout the day, this is a huge, highly meaningful reduction in your daily token consumption. We also have an awesome update to the streaming watchdog. This is an idle watchdog that automatically aborts and retries requests if a response stream just sits there and produces 0 events for 5 straight minutes. The big takeaway here is that this is now turned on by default across all providers, which totally prevents your terminal from hanging indefinitely. But hey, if you prefer the old way, you can still easily disable it using the environment variable.
We've also got a ton of quality of life bug fixes. Let me just rapid fire rattle off a few highlights for you. Those annoying rate limit warning flickers, gone. PowerShell exit code false failures, resolved. MCP OAuth scope errors for enterprise identity setups are patched, and that weird bug where Bedrock showed 0 tokens is totally fixed. But honestly, the absolute lifesaver here, safe transcript handling. Waking a background job actually used to permanently delete its entire conversation if the transcript probe happened to misread a perfectly valid transcript. Now that file is safely set aside instead of being trashed, completely protecting your hard-earned context.
Now, obviously, an explainer like this can only go so deep into the architecture. For the full Claude Code manual and for all the context on how every single one of these pieces perfectly fits together in your daily stack, you'll definitely want to visit claudemaster.net. It's absolutely your comprehensive source for the deeper reading and all those integration details. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder. How much time and frustration will you actually save this week with a workspace that finally remembers its background jobs and strictly protects your MCP boundaries? Version 2.1.196 is a serious upgrade to your daily developer flow. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, enjoy upgrading your workflow.